Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicki.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the
have,
Sentinel system do?
we could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled 3 who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Dominating with Dawson. Dominating with Dawson. Where is by Dawson?
He's not here.
What?
Hello, this is not Ben Dawson.
It is not. El Jefe.
Hello.
What's up, sir?
What's up?
Welcome, Jeff Wakeman.
Go Eagles. For those of you who don't know,
Right?
we
you
are
see what they did downtown? Holy cow. Everybody poured out. I saw horses.
Listen, there's certain things you have to worry about for Eagles fans. Pouring one out is not one of them.
No. We are recording this less than 24 hours after Jeff's favorite team has won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Is it Jeff's favorite team or is Penn State Jeff's favorite team?
I grew up on the Eagles. I married into Penn State.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
yeah.
and who do we not like?
Who do we not
Their
like?
biggest rival is usually what, the Cowboys?
Yeah, sort of.
Cowboys or
Sure.
Giants? It used to be
Cowboys suck.
Used to be the Redskins, but they've been so bad for so long. They
Yeah,
probably
not
dropped
forever.
off.
No, not in my lifetime. My lifetime, it's always been the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So I know I'm here for driving with Dawson, and I know what the first topic is going to be.
You do, because you have the doc.
Because you told me.
I did.
And I actually have a funny story about the Eagles in the Super Bowl connected to the first topic.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, we've never had a Super Bowl connection on a Dominating with Dawson, so
it's amazing, right?
It is.
So why don't you go home and go out and tee up that question, and I will tell you a story.
So we had a listener call us up or write in and say, hey, can I talk to you guys about renting seats? And I think they were talking about it from the perspective of being the car owner renting a seat as opposed to the person renting a seat. However, we don't do a whole lot of it. We have some experience in it, but we mostly get people just to get started. So, like any good drug dealer, the first one's usually free or no cost above cost. So, but Jeff, you've been doing this a whole lot longer than we have. You've even actually rented a seat from us.
Correct.
In spite of us saying you couldn't, you just did it anyway. But what's your perspective on seat rental for endurance racing?
All right, well, I'm going to tell you a story about one of the best seats I ever rented, and it has to do with an Eagles Super Bowl. So,
Okay.
the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl in December, I got an offer to go down to Alabama to do the very first Lemons race of the season down there at Barber Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from friends who drive Burt One, which is a Volvo 262 Bertone. I believe it is a 262. I think that's the right number.
It's a Volvo.
It's a Volvo, and it's a two-door Volvo, and it is a Bertone bodied, so they call it Burt One. And my wife says, "That's Super Bowl weekend. Are you really gonna go do a ride and drive on Super Bowl weekend?" And I said, "What are you, crazy? The Eagles quarterback Wentz just got injured. They're putting in this guy, Nick Foles. They go to the Super Bowl."
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong.
Maybe they did.
They
Maybe.
did. And they won. The very first Super Bowl in my lifetime that they won. The very first Super Bowl period they won. And I was in Alabama after the trophy searching in Mental's RV, searching for a bar that had both beer and the game on. And believe it or not, we could not find a bar until almost halftime that had both.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing,
Turns out there's some blue laws down there.
yes, especially on a Sunday, even if it is Super Sunday.
Yeah. So let's talk about the arrive and drive.
Okay.
So we'll start with, let's say you are going somewhere and renting a seat from someone, what it is you need to do, how to find one, et cetera, and so forth. I am lucky enough to be in this sport long enough that I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me. And the best arrive and drives, I believe, are when you know what you're getting into. And you need to know what you're getting into because you need to have a certain understanding of what you're getting. Different teams prep for different things, and different teams have different skills, and different teams have different expectations. And the most important thing in either renting out a seat or arrive and driving is making sure that your goals and the goals of the team that you're going to match.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's important.
we rented seats to people who did not match, and I've gone to places. I've only ever matched in places I've gone. So that's a bonus. But you could be racing with friends, right? We have a term in the Three Pedal Mafia, just enjoying racing with friends. So that means we're going out, we're not being competitive. Our car is going to be ready, but you know what? We're just casually racing with friends. We're getting together. We're going to go around the track. Everybody's going to get equal time. We're not going to wrench too hard. We're not going to try too hard. We're just going to have a good time. And there are people who want to frickin' win right now. And if you're a frickin' win right now person and you show up to casually racing with friends, you're not going to have a good weekend.
Nope. Expectations have not been met.
Have not been met. If you think the car is going to be ready and you get there and it's like, here's the list of things we need before we pass tech, please help us wrench.
Yep.
If you weren't expecting that, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Now, I would arrive and drive to a team that I knew I was going to do that if there was something spectacular that we were driving and we were going for IOE and we knew it was a car that was absolutely crazy and we knew that we were going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's matching the expectations.
Yeah, you don't go expecting to win overall in a 1960s Eastern European car that's about 2 feet wide.
Yeah. And you need to know, like, and there are cars that are fast and cars that are not fast and what it is that you're doing and whatever. That's all one thing. But You could have two arrive and drives in the exact same car and have two different experiences because the team's level of prep or the team's level of win is not the same.
Hmm.
Because an E36 BMW that I arrive and drove in on the West Coast at Laguna Seca, I was not with friends. I was working with Kathy from Lucky Dog,
Mhm.
and she set us up with a team and said that they were all great and they were very prepared. And it was an E36, and we're going to go out to Laguna Seca and do the best track ever. And when we got there, the car was not very ready.
Hmm.
The guy was very nice. Mohammed Mo was the guy. He was very
Mhm.
nice, great guy. I loved working with him. But when we got there, we realized like his suspension was really loose, like not
Mhm.
bolted together correctly.
That's a different kind of loose.
Yeah, and he was, not really prepared. And the people we were planning to casually drive with friends.
Hmm.
Like we were not looking to win, but it was a fast car, E36, but it was not ready. And the rest of the team were not people with experience.
Right.
Mhm.
So we each got 1 hour, and then the fourth driver got in who had never raced on track before, and money shifted and blew the motor.
Ooh.
At least you're in a nice area. Good food.
So we commenced to wrench because we are that way. We are only 3, 4 hours into the race. We commenced to wrench for an overnight, and this is after flying to the West Coast and not getting proper sleep and jet lag. And we spent all night changing that motor and all the next day changing that motor. And it didn't go in because they were not very E36 savvy. And,
Hmm.
we were, yeah, we didn't want to quit because we flew all the way out there and having only 1 hour was not enough.
Right.
No. No.
So,
That's kind of bummy. And
yeah.
and you said the car was not prepared properly?
It was prepared. It just had been prepared and left alone for a long time.
No.
So it needed reawakening.
Ugh.
Lots of
Yeah.
people's level of preparation varies greatly.
Absolutely. And again, nothing wrong with that guy.
No.
We bonded with him very well. I would race with him again tomorrow. I would say, is everyone on the team experienced?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What's
And
the
and
goals?
and what are the goals? And what are the goals? Yeah, that's that. So if you're renting out seats, the very first thing you do is you vet the people that you're going to let drive your car.
Right.
And if you are buying a seat, the very first thing you do is have a conversation with the person you're buying the seat from. What are your goals? What am I purchasing? What happens if it breaks? What are my requirements? I'll give you another issue that we've had with arrive and drives. What are the expectations for hanging out at the track? On our team, we expect you to hang out and have a good time and participate in the theming if we're theming that weekend.
Yep.
And if something breaks, you're going to wrench with us and you're going to fuel with us and you're going to have, all of those things are going to be part of your duties. Probably a cooking, probably a cleaning, all of that is part of being on the team.
Yep.
We have had arrive and drives, not us, but I've seen it on some other teams that show up for say, when is my shift? I'll be here for that. I'm actually driving in another car this weekend and I'm staying at the hotel. And so when it's my turn, I will be here. But when it's not my turn to drive, I will be somewhere else.
Yeah, the true arrive and drive in quotes. Yeah.
Arrive and drive in quotes. So that's, again, a guy that we actually like and get along with great. He would want to buy a shift, but he wasn't there for the weekend. He was just there for the shift.
Right.
Hmm.
So what is it that you're actually selling or buying needs to be determined before you make the purchase or before you commit to that weekend.
Now, I know some teams will have hey, I'm going to prep this car, but it's racing. And all I can say is the car will be ready to take the green flag. We have the spares, whatever. But once the checker flag goes and we are under green, if something happens, that's it. And then others are like you can expect to get, 2 hour stint on Saturday, 2 hour stint on Sunday. And if it's less than that, we'll prorate it or do something like that. And lots of things in between.
Yeah, it is very rare that someone will give you an actual amount of time and say they are going to prorate,
Mhm.
because how do you guarantee that? And that is just a terrible business model, because I believe it's Nick Pon who said, trying to figure out what happens on a lemons track is like paying attention to a room full of cats.
Yep.
If there's a giant hole in the middle and
Mhm.
someone is lighting off fireworks,
Mhm.
and you hope your cat doesn't fall in the hole.
Yep.
As soon
Mm.
as that green flag drops, all bets are off.
All money's been spent.
All money's been spent. If the car passes tech, and I'm not saying passing tech is like a requirement, because like I said, if I know I'm getting there to wrench and
Yeah,
I'm
you
being
just want to
hired to
know.
say, yeah, you got to know what you're getting into. I would not expect, I love Tom Lamino to death. I would not expect his Volkswagen to last the weekend, and I knew I would be getting into that. But when it's
For
running, I
for
would
instance, I
When
mean,
it's running, it
but
runs
when
really well.
but when it's running really well, and I would expect them to be trying to win.
mhm.
And I think that's a difference. We don't have to have reliability, especially if you're trying to win, because
Yes.
winning cars need to be reliable to win. But to be that fast, you're going to be taking chances.
Yeah. And you're pushing
Whether
things.
it's whether it's heat in the motor or heat in the tires or pushing it hard, and there might be a black flag or there might be an accident. Now, and everything you just talked about needs to be part of that initial discussion. What happens if it breaks? What happens if I get a black flag? What happens if I crash the car?
Yep.
There
That's
are
the last
some
one.
there are some people who will say, if you crash the car, you owe me money.
Yes.
Mm.
And there's, whether it's your fault or not, if you're behind the wheel, you owe me money. Now, whether or not that is part of the deal, if you're behind the wheel, you need to make it better. Again, your fault or not, I'm just thinking, our last, this Honda,
Hmm.
when that Honda crashed, for those of you listening at home or only on the audio portion of the podcast, I am holding up the Three Pedal Mafia a giraffe car. My
Pinewood
what is
Derby.
this? Pinewood Derby. Thank you. My Pinewood Derby of that.
I was going to say
With
you're not holding that car up with one
no,
hand.
no, no, no. When
Jeff's been
that
working out.
car crashed, it was currently Godzilla livery.
Mhm.
The day that it died, it took a wheel from a car on New Hampshire Motorsports right into the grill. And the very first thing the driver said, which was mental, is, what can I do to make this better?
Right.
Like, not my fault. I pulled off immediately so as not to damage the car.
Wasn't
It was
his wheel.
It wasn't his wheel that fell off. It was another competitor's. And the very first thing he said is, what can I do? I know he has drop shipped parts that he broke immediately because he lives on the other coast, so he can't come wrench. I know that I have agreed to come wrench. You need to do to save yourself, to not be the jerk on the track.
Yep.
You need to try and make it better, whatever better was.
Well, Jeremy did the same thing. He got into an accident at pit race where he got bumped in the rear quarter going around turn one,
In which car?
an E36.
Okay, in your Captain America E36.
No, it was a different one. It was Dave's. It was the skunk oil. But
Oh, okay, yeah, I knew that one. Yep.
but he got just touched a little bit, and that's a heavily loaded spot, and he went off track right into the wall, hit very hard, and he made it right with Dave, even though it wasn't really his fault. He got tapped in the back. It's something. I think the two things I would say is try to have these discussions before the race starts,
Before the race starts,
Right.
100%.
and no rented seat is worth losing a friend.
No.
So have the discussion before the race starts. And to preclude that, I usually don't rent seats. I usually don't drive in cars that aren't mine because I feel overly obligated to make sure that car survives. And I won't drive it as hard as if it's mine. Now that's just me. I'm
Oh,
a whack job.
100%. I do not drive as hard in a rented seat, even when they are my best friends. When I drove your Honda,
Yep.
I did not drive it as hard as I would drive my own Honda.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean Chris Abbott's Honda, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But you've got to, and I think one of the things that you and Chris have both said to me, and probably everybody else on Three Pedal, the best people to rent a seat to are people who own cars.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they
have,
understand mechanical sympathy.
Yeah, and the pain that it takes to get that car out to the track every time.
Yeah.
And, just don't lose a friendship over it. It's not worth it.
All right, shall we review?
Let's review.
That sounds good.
Number 1, make sure your goals and the goals of the people you're putting in your car or the people you're renting from are the same.
Yep. Or at least known.
Or at least known. And you're okay with whatever the goals are that you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
Make
sure that everything is discussed before you turn a wheel. What happens if I crash? What happens if the car does not make tech? What are my obligations? Match your energy to whatever those requirements are.
What happens if the car breaks after an hour?
What happens if the car breaks after an hour? Have all of those discussions. Number 3. Your fault or not. If you are behind the wheel, you got to make it better. You got to at least offer.
If 2 cars hit each other on the track, you were both there.
And number 4, was there number 4?
I don't usually count that high.
Oh, I do remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
Make sure mechanical sympathy is of your utmost.
Yes.
If you are driving someone else's car, your safety bubble, if I say safety bubble, do your listeners know what that means?
They probably don't. They don't listen.
The bubble around you, how close to the edge and how close to every car you get can be big or small. Your safety bubble, your relax a little, your extra little moment that you're off the gas to make sure you have enough room is bigger than the car that you own.
Mm-hmm. We had a 5, by the way. 5. We forgot a 5.
There's a 5?
Yes, we had a 5. If you are part of the team, you are part of the team. If you are a arrive and drive, you are an arrive and drive. But make sure this is discussed, because otherwise one or both parties
will be unhappy.
Will be very unhappy. How'd we do, Miss Vicki?
You did really well.
All right. If we didn't, GarageHeroesInTraining@gmail.com. Blame Jeff. His Eagles won the Super Bowl. He's happy. He doesn't care.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.